everyone, welcome to this webcast on analytics, data science, and decision optimization. My name is Ashley Joyce, and I'm in the marketing and sales team for Cresco International. I'll be a moderator for today's webcast. On behalf of Cresco, I would like to thank you all for joining. A quick note before proceeding, we will be recording this webcast and we'll share it with everyone as soon as it's available. Please feel free to use the questions tab on the control panel on your screen to ask questions during the webcast. All questions will be reviewed at the end of the webcast. Now, with further delay, I would like to introduce you to our presenter today, Sanjeev Zada, the Practice Director for Cresco. I will join back at the end for the Q&A session. Sanjeev?
Thank you, Ashley. Welcome once again to the conference that we're doing today. And it's a very interesting topic. It's something that a lot of clients have been asking about, and we see a lot of companies across not just the United States, but also in other locations who are focusing on data science and decision optimization as well as analytics. We have a short demo towards the end of this webcast, but we also have some polling questions as we move on. So make sure that you have your mouse handy while we do this. I wanted to start off with a quick introduction about myself and about what the company does. So as Ashley mentioned, I manage the practice at Cresco, and what that means is it's my job to ensure that anyone who's using our services or the products that we help our clients with is satisfied and is getting the maximum ROI from the product. And so as a company, what we do is we work with the different IBM technologies out there, anything from the Cognos Analytics to TM1 to the Watson Customer Engagement, predictive analytics like SPSS and DSX, technologies like DSX, and then the cloud integration and blockchain as well. So it's a bunch of things that we do here at Cresco, but I wanted to make sure that we today focus on analytics, data science, and decision optimization, and how the IBM Business Intelligence tool has been helping many clients with some client examples in all these areas. So the industries that we focus on, distribution, healthcare, as you're seeing on your screen, we're also focused on education, state and local government, finance, banking, insurance. There are a lot of other companies that we work for that probably might not be that do not fall under this industry grouping, but we pretty much do analytics for a lot of clients, and so primarily this is what we focus on. Here are some of the stories that we've helped with numerous clients, and a lot of this is also publicly available information. If you would go out to the IBM's website and you look out for success stories, you'll stumble upon some of these over here. The ones that I'll be focusing on today is the one with Fleet Pride and how we use multiple technologies with IBM and how we integrated all of this together. The other one that I'd like to talk about is also the one at the bottom of your screen, the Tactical Institute. We use a technology called Watson Analytics for social media for this institution that uses the IBM technology and some tradecraft to crawl the web and find out what people are saying about negative things about their schools and their offices, and basically alert the FBI and local police offices about what people are saying, and then go after them. And they've actually prevented 11 school shootings since Sandy Hook using the IBM technology. Once again, a pretty cool success story that's available on IBM's website. These are some of the awards that we've won over the past few years, and year after year we've been winning some awards. And the idea is that most recently we won the Beacon Award for Outstanding Analytics Solution. What that is it's IBM's way of recognizing the top business partner in the analytics space and what we've done with different clients and different technologies. So this is another slide that I wanted to put out there for you guys. What this basically shows is how we have not only helped our clients from an analytics perspective, but how IBM has recognized at their biggest analytics conference 2 months ago, the work that our clients have done internally, as well as the business partner that is Cresco, that has helped our clients not only in the analytics space, but also in the space of data science. So awards given by IBM for excellence and transformational to our clients by using different technologies within IBM, which is what this webcast is about. So one of the things that we see very often, and I'm sure some of you are already facing this, is we've got data, we've got the tools, or we don't have the tools. We are looking to acquire the tools, and the most important thing what we want to do is we want to be able to have a governance around our tools so that organizations can internally can speak the same numbers and everyone is talking the same lingo over here. So that's something that we see a lot, and the reason why we partner with IBM is because IBM offers the technology available to help clients achieve what they're set out to. If they're invested in technology products like IBM Cognos or TM1, or even the governance areas where you can do collaboration between business and IT, and there's value that gets added to your data from a governance perspective. This is exactly what we'd like to focus on as a company, where we help clients see maximum ROI. And so, if you look at the market trends today, and this is something that has been going on since a few years now. The trend is to make the business user more self-sufficient in the technologies that they have. And so IBM has spent a lot of money over the last few decades in building tools that make organizations and the people that use these tools much more self-sufficient. The idea behind that is to be able to provide the client the ROI, make them independent of IT, as well as give them that quick decision making instead of relying on someone else to go and create a report or to provide the right data set. And so the consumption is what we're noticing is much higher than it used to be, because the tools are easier to use and the end user is pretty much self-sufficient. And so this is what we're seeing as a dwindling number in terms of technical resources that are required to access their own data, whereas the technical resources are doing more of the data science work, in the infrastructure work. Having tools today on the cloud have made deployments so much easier. So as a business user, as an end user, all you're doing is you're going out there, you're accessing your data, you're creating your quick reports, and you're making decisions on trusted data. Very important. And in just speaking with a lot of clients, the trend is what we try to bring, what we find as success is you should be using 80% of your time in doing analytics and 20% of the time, or even lesser, in building that analytics. So if that's something that you're not doing today, this is where Cresco and IBM come in to help you. Cresco helps with the strategic or the consulting services and providing you with the right tools and using the IBM technology to help clients get to that space. So now I want to go over some of the portfolio that IBM has in its arsenal and something that we help our clients with, whether you're looking at anywhere from a back-end database, whether it's on cloud or it's on-prem, and you want to get your entire database into one environment and you have unified governance, or you're looking at just data visualizations as well as data science and machine learning. Everything built in. It's IBM's commitment to be as open source as possible. What that allows is a speed that you haven't seen before, speed in development, speed in getting the data out, speed in making the faster decisions, and also in being more innovative. So IBM has numerous offerings on the cloud today that we see a lot of clients are now moving towards to be able to get results much faster. So I wanted to spend some time talking about self-service that for a retail giant that we did very recently. And the company was faced with numerous tools from an analytics perspective. And we see that very often, that organizations are now in a phase where they just don't have one tool to deal with. They've got multiple tools. Cognos, IBM Cognos is one of them. The challenge that exists in such situations is, first of all, what I believe is the lack of education that the client has in terms of what the current tool can do. And so that's why they go out and look for other tools to help satisfy their needs. But if you have good knowledge as to what each of these tools do that you have, that you already invested in or you're looking to re-engage, um, then you will find out with the self-service analytics capability, with the openness that IBM has now provided, it becomes much more simpler to do the same things and not look at multiple tools. Because when you start looking at multiple tools, you go outside the comfort zone of a lot of people, especially the group that brings you the data governance. And when I say data governance, what that means is not having the right information at the right time, different people speaking different terms. Good analogy is you've got an Excel spreadsheet, and now the spreadsheet is passed around numerous departments, numerous people within a department, and now everyone is making their own calculation assumptions, which then when you ask the whole team, hey, can you tell me where my business is going, it becomes a big challenge because who do you trust? Whose numbers do you trust? And so what this basically talks about is, look, business intelligence has been a terminology that I've been using for the last 15 years. Prior to that, it was more of decision optimization, or it used to be called decision support. But we've evolved, right? We've got better tools, we've got a lot more data, we've got these tools that can help us not only in predicting the future, whether it's customer behavior or finding out how much more revenue you'll make, how many more sales numbers you'll hit, and the targets that you'll achieve, but also making sure that the data is useful and you can view it in a graphical analysis. Plus, the most important thing is whether you're investing in technology like being able to predict what the next future is going to be, being able to see all of that in one single view, which will then help your entire organization make the right decisions. So that's something that we like to focus on, kind of present to our clients what we're doing. So what does it mean, right? I mean, you could buy the best tools and you can have the best people, but it's also about making sure that once your process has changed, then you want to be able to increase the adoption, increase the awareness of what you as a project manager, as a company, have invested in. And so to be able to do that, it's a big cultural change from having people go from one tool to another. It's not like they already have a lot on their plate. Now you're throwing something in addition, which then they start feeling like, well, you know what, I have to change and learn something new. And so what we've been very successful with this retailer is being able to build the self-service tool where they're self-sufficient, where they can bring in data from numerous sources, create this integrated layer, and then self-serve themselves, thereby reducing the amount of support that they need from an IT perspective. So I would like to take a few seconds for you to just go over this real quick. It's a self-service BI tool questionnaire, I would say. Some of the most important questions that you want to ask is, is data visualization the key that I'm looking for? How do I increase my bottom line? How do I free up IT department? How do I make better decisions? I want a drag and drop interface. How do I limit my risks? How do I combine multiple data sources? Excel isn't just cutting it for me. So take a few seconds to spend time on this, and we'll proceed with the next slide. So this is one of the engagements and the methodology that we applied for some of our clients who are trying to kick off this self-service, right? They've got data warehouses, they've got numerous people managing it, or in some cases with the data that they're working with, just limited resources that are managing the data. And they want to be able to make decisions. That's what their job is entailed on. Give me a decision based on the data that you're using. And so this basically shows the journey that we took with our clients from wherever they are in this point, whether you're looking at data warehouse or you're looking to use data literacy and move up. But we followed this path and made sure that our clients are much more trained in the tool, whether it's sitting with them and having multiple training sessions or doing lunch and learns, but ensuring that they know the tool as well as they know the data very well. I think that really adds a whole lot of value, this combination of not just saying, all right, your data is ready, all the best, good luck to you, and walk away, but also doing some kind of hand-holding and walking them through the process to ensure that they're able to reach their goals. They're not just left with a tool and some data and try to figure it out and writing SQL, but being able to trust the data from a unified governance. So when I go to a meeting with them, when I'm dealing with another department, the conversations that we're having are meaningful and they make a lot of sense across every group, whether you're going from a marketing team and you have your sales team in there or your inventory or finance folks. Everyone is looking at the same data and the same numbers to be able to make the right decision. So just a quick overview, right? What is our methodology to get to that point? First of all, identifying the data, where the data resides, as well as defining the data, the technology behind this. So, you probably learned some of these technologies in your previous work experiences, in your work life, but how do you bring that experience and make sure the end user is much more intelligent, is much more smarter with the tools that they're using? The next step is my favorite, which is metadata is king. Within the IBM technology, there is a concept of having a metadata, which is data about data, or just more information about my data. For example, we don't have tools that allow you to go out there and get data directly from the database and start making decisions on it. We actually do have those tools, but it's not the best discipline to apply when you're using these tools. What you need is this layer. The best way I describe it is a tres leches cake. My favorite cake, right? So you've got the lowest level, which is the juiciest, which is where you have your data. The one above that is that governance layer, the layer that provides the same information across multiple organizations. And the top layer is you, the end user, who's building and consuming this data. So the metadata is king because it ties everyone together, and that's what we promote while doing these self-service projects. The other one is being able to get the internal buy-in and being able to standardize on a tool. So the example that I'm talking about is how we looked at an organization that had almost 9 different business intelligence tools. And obviously everyone has their own inputs, but being able to show the value that IBM Cognos Analytics, the new version of Cognos, which is more than a 15-year-old or maybe almost 20-year-old now, a mature application, whether it's on-prem or cloud, but how it's performed, the roadmap, the future, and also the standardization that it can create within an organization, whether you're looking to distribute reports or you're looking to create standard templates, being able to write your own SQL if you require, or being able to leverage a data layer that is standard within your organization. And then the other support, right? The support, once you've decided on the tool, once you've standardized, being able to go and train, whether it's on-site, remote, or do lunch and learns, to engage with the end user to make sure that what they're using is exactly what they're looking out for. It's not like, I have a tool and, hey, look, it's flashy, it does great graphs and really nice appealing charts, but you know what, if the data is not trustworthy, if I've written SQL statements that I'm not even sure of or someone else has written for me, and I have to go and make modifications, then it's not worth my time because I don't even trust my own self. How can I trust the data that someone else has written, right? So having that standardized governed data is very important in the situation. Obviously, once you deploy these kind of self-service projects, you want to make sure that the end user is constantly updated, constantly is in an improvement phase, and also is being given the latest and greatest in terms of documentation as well as knowledge transfer. So I want to talk about a success story that we've done with a company over here, very close to our office in Dallas, Texas. But company is called Fleet Pride. They are in the heavy-duty parts. They help with distributing and allowing owners of tractors, trailers, and so on, being able to get their parts anytime they want, either by ordering online, going to the retail store, or just calling them up and asking them to ship these parts. They were faced with multiple challenges from a technical standpoint, but also needed some help on strategic conversations. And this is where Cresco jumped in and was able to provide management consulting along with the IBM tools. So this is a very important um, graph that you're seeing on your screen. It's something that, as a practice director, I have a lot of conversations with our clients. Where do you see yourself? Where are you standing today in your organization? And this is exactly what our poll is about. It is, are you in the early stages where you're looking at hindsight or foresight? And if you're looking to move up the chain, how do you get to this point? Now, organizations like Gartner and other research organizations are always talking to clients about how can you get the best or the next best thing out of your data. And the questions that we typically ask is, what happened? Are you at a situation where you're asking the questions about what happened in my business yesterday? What happened last week? Give me some trends. Or are you at a place where you're asking, why did it happen? What is likely going to happen? And once we know what's likely going to happen, what should we do to take those actions to either prevent it or act on what's going to happen? And so what this basically goes over is, are you acting on data, or are you looking at data from where you have missing insight? You can't make those decisions. Are you at a situation where you're either going backwards, where you're still trying to find out, I have missing data, I have incorrect data, I have misleading data, or I have data that is just simply misrepresented. So how do I get to that point? The question is, are you here? Are you at a point where you're trying to figure out where my data lies, or are you at a point where you're moving up towards the prescriptive? And as we move on, we'll talk about how these technologies and how we use this graph at Fleet Pride to provide them value in their data, to take them not just from an analytics perspective, but also towards a more advanced analytics perspective. So, and this is all these things that I'm talking about over here are the tools that IBM has in its arsenal to help clients to get to that point, right? Once you've seen value in the tool that you've bought into, then you want to move up to the next level and the next level, and being able to have that competitive edge over clients or companies that you compete with. Because if you're not doing it, guess what? They're picking up and they're taking the lead on this. So don't be acting or reacting, but be more proactive. And so this brings me to a polling question. So if you guys can just answer this poll real quick, help us in determining where you are today in your journey, and then we'll continue with our question. So very quickly, let me talk about what these technologies do, right? So if you're looking at business intelligence, what we typically do is we try to find out, hey, what is our company doing from an analytics perspective? Where are we? Let's look at some operational reports. And so the idea is that I want to be able to look at yesterday's data, whether it's sales trends or forecasting, or if I'm looking at what happened last year versus this year. And that's where most of us spend our time. The next best thing is, why did it happen? Ask those questions where you can ask the what if questions. What if I did this differently? How would it impact sales? What if I did something else differently? How would it impact employee retention in my organization? What if I did something differently? How would that impact inventory and how we try to balance our demand and supply? Once you figure that out, the next questions, looking at the same data sets, but different tools within the IBM stack, is, tell me what is likely going to happen. Am I likely going to lose my staff? So do I start looking at giving them higher bonuses? Am I likely going to decrease in sales or increase in sales? What do I do, right? So predict and tell me what I should do and what it looks like is going to happen next. So once you figure that out, the next step is, let's say I know what the future is. I know that, we're going to have, an X amount of, let's say 100 million in sales increase over the next 12 months, how do we prepare for it? Or if we're lagging, and as a CFO, I decide I want to increase my total revenue by 10% in the next 18 months. As a company, what should I do? So keeping that as a constant, keeping that 10% increase in revenue as a constant, tell me, change the defined variables and tell me what I should do, whether that is hiring more people or reducing the amount of stock that I have or reducing the amount of product lines that I'm selling to be able to focus more on my core business area and make that decision. So I know for 100% guarantee, these mathematical models are going to give me that 10% increase in revenue by telling me what I should be doing and where I should take action. So what we've done with this organization is we were able to go out there and increase sales by doing warehouse optimization, by making sure that the client is satisfied in terms of when the order was received to the time it was shipped out the store to the time it reached the retail store and the customer either came and picked it up from the location or it was delivered directly to their desired location, all using a combination of IBM Cognos as well as the predictive capability, what is called SPSS. So where if I look at market trends and I have a historical information of what you have bought as a customer, what your purchasing pattern is, then I can define what you will be buying next, and I can tell my warehouse exactly how quickly I should be shipping out. And if I can predict the future, then I know how much I should be stocking up to ensure that I'm able to satisfy your order and not being able to say, I'm sorry, you'll have to wait a couple of weeks before we get the product out to you. Because in today's times, if I don't do that, there are a lot more options. And so you can go out and get a better place, a better pricing. So this warehouse optimization, what it did was it reduced the inventory, it increased cash flow because now we're selling a lot more, and also increased the what is called pickup efficiency, which is as a warehouse manager, I'm able to drill down not only in one specific warehouse in the country, but down all the way to the floor and to the employee level to say, okay, this specific employee is taking way longer to ship parts to the customer. So let's go and have a conversation with this person, whether they need more training or maybe this is not the right fit for their job. Again, in the combination of the business intelligence tool, which is Cognos Analytics, as well as the predictive analytics, which is SPSS. The next is being able to predict my labor. Labor, as we know, is one of the most expensive things for any businesses, but being able to look at historical workloads, seasonal information, location information, and other factors, we are able to predict how many people we require for the same job. And what that means is that allows us to define whether we're paying overtime or are we right at the industry standard where it is good to have some kind of overtime, because if I have a big order suddenly that's come in that I did not anticipate, I have enough hands to move products across. Now, this is a very specific example for supply chain and distribution accounts, but you can also apply this not just in retail, but also in the industrial or manufacturing as well. When I know I have a lot more people coming in, I need to have the right amount of resources or the right staff at a bank, for example, to be able to satisfy my customer, because if the customer gives negative reviews today, then that really affects the organization. So once we were able to make all these changes, it kind of goes back to the previous slides that I spoke about. Is you want to start off with a step-by-step approach, being able to create enough ROI that others in the organization put their hands up and say, me too, when can you come and apply this solution within our organization? And this is exactly what happened. So once we started going down the path of process improvement using technologies like Cognos and predictive analytics and SPSS, the question was, how can we use these same tools without investing in any more tools, excuse me, but giving the same tools to be able to work in different groups. And so we targeted the sales department where they were able to analyze customers, put them in different buckets and say these different customers, um, although they are very similar, let's put them in a segmentation that we can then target and provide them the right marketing, the right sales approach. So it is meaningful sales and targeting, sales and marketing efforts rather than unmeaningful. I mean, if someone is driving a Toyota and you call them and try to sell them a part of a Honda or a Maserati, they're just going to hang up. So if I'm calling you up and saying I have the right parts for you for your specific trailer or your truck that match the needs, and if I can tell you that based on historical patterns with customers like yourself, we have seen that 3 to 6 months from now, these are the parts for that vehicle fail. Can I provide you that at a combination price where I'm selling you a lot more at this point of sale, but also being able to give you the parts sooner so you don't have any loss in productivity, as well as being able to give you these recommendations, which you as a customer are going to say, that was very valuable. Once again, using the predictive analytics engine, the data mining capability, and being able to provide those recommendations to the customer. So what this did was this expanded the sales. This basically took their cross-sell capabilities and increased it by a massive amount, because now the customer is not only happy, they know exactly that the company that I'm dealing with, they understand my needs, and I can relate to them, and I can go out and sell them whatever I want. So this has been a great experience, not just from a sales perspective, but also from the customer, because now they're shipping a lot more product. They're able to stock the latest parts and being able to satisfy everyone. And so these are some of the examples that came up from some production reports that allowed customers to get the right parts at the right time. We also analyzed some competitive information where we were able to figure out, okay, so if I see that you haven't bought some certain parts from me when you should be buying based on historical trends, there's something wrong, and that I need to call you up and ask you, hey, why haven't you bought from me? Are you looking at someone else? And if you are, can I provide you a better pricing? This doesn't have to be only in the supply chain market. This could work in banks, with insurance companies, just being able to understand your customer better using the tools. What was nice about this was we were able to analyze the customer purchasing behavior, being able to keep that customer again and increase their lifetime value within the organization. So it's a pretty cool project that we've done using a couple of tools, but being able to be very impactful in the way we got this done. Lastly, before I get into the demo, I want to talk about what is called the best kept secret in the analytics space, and this is decision optimization, where if you imagine the chart that I just went over, the topmost piece, which is I can predict the future, but tell me what I should be doing. What we were able to do was we were able to work with IBM and come up with plans of telling the organization where they should open the next store. I know these customers that I sell to. I know what they typically buy. I have a larger group of customers in this location. Tell me, where should I open my next retail store? Tell me where I should open my next warehouse. And if I'm doing that, tell me what is the most optimal route that my trucks should take to deliver this product right on time, so that I am saving on fuel, I'm making the right decisions, and getting the solution out to the client much quicker than having them to wait. Because if a tractor doesn't move, it doesn't plow, and they don't get the fruits and vegetables on your table at the grocery store, guess what? It affects all of us. So this was a very important technology, which then the mathematical models behind the tool were being able to deliver the value out to the organization, so they could trust the data, make the decision, as well as being able to offer the right customer satisfaction. So with this, enough of talking. I want to show you some stuff now. I want to show you a product called Cognos Analytics, if you've not already heard of it. What this tool does is, what we really like about this is everything that I've spoken to you about, right, is all integrated into one solution. So what you're looking at is what we call a bike share data set. If you're in the hospital business, convert these bike share into hospital beds. But the idea is that I am looking at revenue and expenses, kind of my forecasting for the business, and I realize that I'm not doing very well, and I'm not meeting my targets based on my actuals and my budgets. There's a drop in variance, and I need to figure out what is actually going on to be able to make a decision. So in this bike share demo, I'm able to figure out that in downtown Chicago, I have negative numbers looking at reports coming from Cognos. I can drill into this downtown area and get another report running that shows me not just from a map perspective where my different utilization is affecting, but able to zoom in and zoom out all the way down to street level, zip code level, and try to find out why am I doing better in certain locations, but also on the right-hand side, look at a graphical representation as well as a tabular representation of the numbers of bikes that I'm going out, the revenue each station is producing, and why am I not doing well on the weekends in some locations, but doing really well on those same weekends on other locations. So any lost opportunity is obviously going to be loss of revenue. Once again, multiple technologies running in one integrated solution. What I could do from here at this point is say, I want to be able to analyze this information a little bit more and figure out what do I do differently, who do I contact, and what changes can I make within the organization to move to the next level. So while this video keeps running, I'm going to just try to jump a little ahead. But the next tab is being able to go out there and pull my data into another tab, which basically tells me, look, based on the data that you pulled in, I'm able to look at the information out here that you're seeing on the right-hand side, and it tells me that what the spiral basically shows is what drives the number of rides, right? How do I define ridership? And that is defined by a combination of different features, which is defined here. And the strength basically tells me what the strength is in the data. So if a combination of temperature range and month is a 63% data strength, what that tells me is it is more likely that a rider is not going to ride when it's a very hot and sunny day because you don't want to go to work all sweaty, or that the average humidity and minimum dew also play a big role in being able to define how my ridership is. So then I can plan accordingly and move bikes around either in Chicago closer to the lake or further away based on the weather and how that affects. Now this tool is also very great where you can type questions in. We don't show it here, but you can actually type the questions in. And as you type questions in, it analyzes the data and brings you back results. So instead of going out there and building charts, be more next gen and being able to type the question and let the system figure out what's the next best chart that will bring out the data for you from an end user perspective. So this is something that's really cool. Again, ties into the Cognos application. What I could do from there on is I could define certain characters and look at a customer feedback and look at the characteristic words that people talk about. Now, yes, in hotter days, the tire does tend to get flat, and so maybe I should reach out to my maintenance team and tell them, look, we've analyzed customer feedback, we've looked at unstructured data, and we've figured out we need to be inflating our tires a little bit more on warmer days so that we don't have flats where people say, you know what, it's too hot, the bikes are not as powerful as they are, and we should stop riding these bikes. I'll just take the train or the tube or whatever other mode of transport I have available to me. But now coming back in the tool, I'm able to run some predictive analytics. You'll notice that I'm not jumping across to another location. What I'm doing is in the tool, in the Cognos Analytics Business Intelligence tool, I'm able to bring in not only just predictive data, but also optimization data. What this shows me now is I could run a predictive engine that shows me ridership for the next 10 days. And that drop down shows me anything between 3, 5, 7, and 10, defined by you, defined by the business. Once I know the predictive capability, I could jump into the optimization of my supply and define how my supply across these different areas, across these different bike share stations, should be spread out. So my optimization model is telling me exactly what I should do and where I should place more bikes and move bikes around. So I'm able to provide a better customer satisfaction level. Now these tools are great, right? They're all built in predictive analytics engines. But what good is it if you keep building these tools but not give the business user the ability to run these models at any time they want? And this is exactly where the Cognos analytics comes in, where clients are being able to run these whenever they want, and the business user has the power of running these predictive engines in their organization, right? So now coming back, now we're taking this data into Excel. Now we're doing some what if analysis, right? We figured out, look, our numbers are changing, we're not doing very well, so we can't go back and fix the past, but we can fix the future. What if we increase, marketing? And what if we start doing a different marketing campaign across? How does that impact my organization? And you'll see, as soon as I make a modification to my marketing, it tells me, look, I can go from red to green. And that's something that I can take back into my reporting. Whether I'm jumping between Cognos or an Excel, I'm still tied to that same governed data. I can look at sentiment analysis of what people are saying. I can convert the marketing campaign that I ran and probably didn't do very well. I could go back and say, you know what, people didn't like it. I want to go back and change that and make modifications. But what the reason why we partner up with IBM is because it gives you these capabilities. It gives you this flexibility as to, hey, look, you're not just getting a tool that gives you cool, pretty charts, but you're also getting a tool that embeds multiple technologies that can do predictions and decision optimization within the tool, so you don't have to go out there and buy another tool to give you that same information, but have the data flow into the same visual that you're used to. What this is now showing you is the concept of chatbots. From being a concept to being in production, chatbots are all over the place. And what they do is they prevent you from being able to reply back to every customer by automating a lot of this information. So the chatbot can go out and learn more about your business, very easy to deploy, very quick to deploy. And as you'll notice, if you're chatting with a chatbot, it's basically not a human, but an AI, artificially intelligence-driven tool that is replying back to you and giving you back results, whether they're charts or they're answers, but relevant information back to your organization, back to your customer, back to whoever is using this. So once again, very powerful, showing you that the Cognos tool can not only satisfy a web interface, but also can go to pieces of it can go to an Excel to integrate with the central data that is created, the data governance, but also go out to mobile devices where you can be smarter and make that decision. So this is a quick demo that I wanted to show you. I think we're coming towards the end of the session here, but I wanted to just go over some of the things that what we do. How do we get to this point? What makes us win awards from IBM? And these are our offerings, right? So we help with whatever tool you're using, right? We want to help you make sure that you maximize on the tool, on the self-service capability, so that you're being able to leverage the data, whether you need help on the data governance, whether you need help on the visualization, we're there to help you, whether it's through our consulting services or our strategy services, whether you need training services, or simply you just want to get access to the IBM software. Now you can contact IBM for the software, or you can contact us. But when you contact us, you get some assistance with the services as well as some training. So it's an all-included package that the clients really like. These are the examples that I wanted to spend my time this afternoon with. Appreciate you guys joining. I'm going to pass it back to Ashley and see if we have any questions. If not, you can always send us an email to to our questions, our email address over there, or call and ask more information. One last thing I'd like to say is all this information that I've gone over is publicly available. We will send you an email with the links that we've gone over. So happy for you to read more details into the success stories that I just had 45 minutes to go over. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Ashley, and hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you, Sanjeev. We're going to take a minute, and if you can go to your control panel, you'll see a window for questions, and you can type in any questions that you have, and I'm going to give a minute or so you can gather your thought, and Sanjeev will give the answers to that. Okay, so we have a first question, and the question is for Sanjeev. How long does this project usually take?
Thanks, Ashley. So it's a good question, and I'm not just going to tell you it takes a year or it takes a month, but it depends on where you are in your life cycle, and the poll that you gave us really helped. You don't necessarily have to jump step by step, but it does help from a more disciplined approach. If you're looking to just go from business intelligence all the way to the decision optimization, you can obviously go there. But usually projects based on different variables, different among the size of the organization, how long, how much data you're trying to pull in, the scope of your project, anywhere between weeks to probably, I would say, less than a year to get everything implemented. In these examples, we took about 12 months to get all of this done. The client saw a massive ROI, and I think that was it.
With that, it brings us to the end of this webcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And as Sanjeev mentioned, please feel free to reach out to Cresco. Our email address is info@crescointl.com. Or you can always call us 8446-CRESCO. And if you need any more information on Cresco International and all the projects that we've been involved in with IBM, please feel free to visit our website, crescointl.com. Thank you, everyone, for joining.